Hey y'all, welcome back to Spirit of the Outdoors, another episode of Just in Time. Special time of year, Christmas time. Last year, I read the Christmas story, I think out of Luke, I believe I read it out of. Matthew has a really good account of the Christmas story. But today I had a little more on my mind. I want to remind everybody that it is more than just a baby was born in a manger and people come from afar and shepherds came, and the fact that he was born to a world that didn't make room for him, that there was no place for the King of Kings, and a lot of good things that you can relate about the Christmas story. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is why he came, why he come here, why he decided that, you know what, let's change everything. And it's because that baby was born and that man lived and God robed himself in flesh and walked the face of this earth and died a horrible death that I can feel what I feel today. And I am very well aware that there's people that have not experienced the fullness of the joy that he brings. And we all have highs and lows. We have times of peace and blessings and joy unspeakable, but then there's times of oppression and frustration and battles that we fight and mourning and sadness and hard times. And it's in those times that I'm the most thankful to be filled with the Spirit that was that baby that was born, that was the man Jesus. So I'm going to go and I want to read today, and I probably should have brought my glasses. Chapter 9 of Isaiah says, "Nevertheless, the dimness shall not be such as was in her vexation. At the first, he lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterward did more grievously affect her by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan and Galilee of the nations. The people that walked in darkness seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them the light hath shined. Thou hast multiplied the nation, and not increased the joy before thee, according to the joy in the harvest, and as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. For thou hast broken the yoke of his burden, and the staff of his shoulder, and the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of Midian. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David, and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this." He said that his name shall be called the Mighty God, the Counselor, the Prince of Peace. And I realize there's a lot of people that they believe, oh, there's three separate beings, and in a sense they are. But know this, Jesus, the baby that was born, was God himself, robed in flesh. that has redescended. He said, I'll return in like manner as you see me leave. And he descended upon them on the day of Pentecost and lived inside of them, which means today he lives inside of me because I have had that experience. And in my frustrations and in my moments of weakness, I can stop and step back and go, you know what, Lord? I need you to refill my cup. I need you to touch me, Lord, because I'm losing sight, Lord, of things in life. I'm losing the grasp of that peace that you spoke of. I'm losing my grip, Lord, on my joy. And all I've got to do is turn back and say, God, I need you right now. I realize, Lord, I'm straying. I realize, Lord, I'm stumbling. I realize, Lord, I'm getting weak, or whatever the case may be. And just like that, boom, God can put his hand on your life. Because all he ever really wanted was a relationship with the creation that he created, with the humans that he created. He created us for a companion, somebody to have an honest conversation. And as I preached last week, I told the church, I said, a lot of times we get caught up in the ritualistic type prayers, and we get caught up in I need to recite this, the Lord's Prayer. I need to go through these steps of prayer. This formal prayer I pray, and I think I need to use big words, and I need to say this and say that. But I have found that I have the most effectiveness and results of my prayer when I just start saying, God, thank you today. Thank you, Lord, for this blessing. Thank you, Lord, for this in my life. And I can honestly sit here and tell you, I have said, Lord, thank you for these struggles. Thank you, Lord, for those battles I fought, because they showed me some things. Now, they was hard when I was in them, but I learned to pray there. I learned to trust you there. I learned a lot from those battles and those struggles that got me to where I am today. I'm not a self-made man. I am not a man that got where I'm at by myself. I'm here because God helped me get here. I'm here because God put me here. A lot like the turtle on top of the fence post. You know, you don't have no idea how he got there, and he really ain't got no business being there, but there he is. Well, that's kind of like I am, like the turtle on the fence post. I really don't know how I got here. I really don't have no business probably being here, but God put me here. And I have learned to trust God. And I have learned that conversation of just out of the purity of my heart. God, this is what I'm dealing with. God, this is what I'm struggling with today. And it's because of about 2,000 years ago, a baby was born. Isaiah prophesied this hundreds of years prior. Ezekiel prophesied it. And they talked about the promise of a Messiah coming. And this baby shows up in a manger, out of the way. And as I read this, we know that this is God himself. He could have stepped into the world in any manner he wanted to. He could have shook the world and stepped on the scene in all of his glory, with light shining and angels singing, and everybody would have bowed down. Everybody would have said, yes, that's God. But that ain't what he wanted. He wanted somebody to look for him. He wanted somebody to try and see, is that him? And does the Spirit lead me to this? There was a light shine and a star above a stable. Led a bunch of men on a journey, and they brought gifts. And you know, we got to look for God the same way today. Many people are like the Pharisees. They want some grand splendor and some what everybody else thinks. Oh, I've got to agree with the masses. Sometimes you got to do a little digging. Sometimes you got to get on your knees and say, God, I need you to lead me to where you want me to be. To let me have that wise man encounter, that shepherd boy encounter. That I could find you, Lord, in a manger somewhere in the back of a stable barn. Laying in a feed trough. May not be what I expected, Lord. It may not be the way I imagined it. It may not be what I thought it would be, but God, wherever you are and however you choose to enter into my life, I want you to be there, God. Help me find my way to that manger. I wonder sometimes those shepherd boys, when that angel spoke to them and said there's a baby in a manger, what they really thought. Did they immediately know, yeah, that's God, or did they have some questions? Is that really an angel? Is this really the Spirit? Is this really what I think it is? And them wise men that began to travel, what was on their mind and how did they really know? Or did they just take a leap of faith and say, you know, I believe this is going to be it. I've got to go see if it is. Too many times today we want to dismiss things. Oh, that ain't God. Oh, that ain't what I think God ordered it. I don't believe in this or that or whatever. But you know, God hadn't never showed up in all of his splendor. God hadn't never showed up to just captivate everybody's minds and leave it without question. He's always slipped in a small way. But know this, he's going to return one day, and everybody's going to know then. But it's going to be too late then to start making choices. It's going to be too late then to say, oh, God, I didn't realize that was you. That's why today you need to make sure that you're looking for a baby in a manger. Something that's not probably like everybody expected. Something that's probably a little unpopular. Something that may be a little confusing. Leaves a lot of questions in the back of your mind. But if you'll try it, if you'll get on your knees and make sure your heart's of a repentant heart, God, I'll leave anything that you ask me to leave. I'll lay aside anything that you say I need to lay aside. He said, lay aside every weight that does so easily beset you. God, whether I think it's a sin or not, I'll quit and lay aside anything, God, that you tell me I need to lay aside because I need you, Lord. I want to find you, Lord. Lead me, Lord, to the baby in the manger. And let me feel that peace and that joy and that breaking of the yokes about me and the rod of my oppressor that Isaiah spoke about. That I might be able to call you wonderful, Counselor, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. That I might know you in your majesty, that I might know you in your greatness. But what I saw was a baby in a manger. Didn't look like much. Didn't really be what I expected it to be. It was kind of to tell everybody that this is God right here, the Messiah, a baby born in the back of a stable barn. You see, they was some rich, wealthy people back in that day that really struggled with that. Because, see, that wasn't popular. That wasn't going to give them any esteem. That wasn't going to look good on them when they went to telling that. That was going to be a little embarrassing. a little uncomfortable to say, you know, I think this baby that was born back here in this barn, in this feed trough, was God. Too much pride to admit that. Too much pride to humble themselves and say, you know, we might have missed this one. It might not have been like we said it was going to be. So make sure today that you hadn't dismissed an experience with God because it wasn't like you thought it ought to be, because it wasn't like what you expected, it wasn't like what everybody told you it was going to be. Get on your knees today and say, God, if I've missed you somewhere, if you've got something for me today, Lord, that I have overlooked, if I've been looking for you to split the skies, or if I've been looking for you to show up in all your grand majesty, and Lord, you want to slip into my life like a baby in a manger, Lord, show me the way that I don't miss it. Let me be like them shepherds. Let me be like them wise men that showed up. There wasn't a lot of them. Wasn't a big crowd. And I'm afraid when he comes back to get us all, that if we're not careful, there's not going to be a big crowd then either. Because he said everybody that says, Lord, Lord's not going to enter in. They're going to come to him and they're going to say, Lord, have we not done many mighty works in thy name? He's going to say, depart from me. I never knew you. I want to know him as a baby in the manger. I want to know him from the beginning. I want to know him in his least. I want to know him in what everybody didn't expect. I want to make sure, God, if you've got something for me, that I don't miss it. If there's a work for me to do, I'm not just talking about blessings, God. If there's something I need to do that I'm missing, God, show me. Out of the honesty of my heart, God, show me. And let me be looking for a baby in a manger, not a king riding in on a stallion. Because I don't want to miss the most important thing, like a lot of people did 2,000 years ago. So many people in Bethlehem. So many people there paying taxes and giving an account to the census. But they all miss the birth of the King of Kings. I don't want to miss it, y'all. I love y'all. I'm praying for you. I wanted to remind you of the importance and the significance of this season. And no, I can't sit here and tell you that, yes, this was the time of the year he was born. But I can tell you this is the time that we take to remember it and focus upon it and say, Lord, thank you for being born into this world and living among us and giving us a chance. I don't want to squander my opportunity, God. I love him with all of my heart, and I wouldn't be anything without him. I love y'all, praying for you. God bless each and every one of you. If you'll do a little better today than you did yesterday, tomorrow will be a better day. We'll see y'all next time.